Well, good morning, everyone, wherever you are. And welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together because we really enjoy each other's company. We like sharing information, having a few laughs, doing a bit of experimentation, all of those things. And So welcome for anyone who's outside and watching. I was made aware that there are a few people who were planning on coming. We may still have a couple of people join us within the green room here. Anyway, for those who are new, you might find on the VCP plugin page, we do have a few operating principles, which I don't usually go over all the time anymore. We used to, but we decided that took up valuable time. So the principles are printed on the VCP page on my website. So just as a reminder that we do have some operating principles for sure. Let's see. Oh, yes, we need to do some introductions this morning. So let's see, who shall I begin with this morning? Bill, I mean, you're always the first one here, right? So it's not fair to always begin with you. So how about you, Alana? How would you like to begin this morning?
No problem. My name is Alana, and I'm joining you from Ireland. And I run a website, emptynesters.com, emptynesterblog.com, and I'm also a virtual assistant. So I'm very happy to be here and join you today. And I may have to turn off my photo because the sound on my end is not great. So rather than hold everybody up, I might just switch over to turning off the video portion. So
okay.
Happy to be here.
Okay. Good to have you here. Okay, let's see. Fred, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Sorry, I was challenged with unmuting my mic. I'm Fred Jones. I'm the creator of Our Future Leaders. I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, the same as a few others. I run a cutting-edge online group coaching program for youth and helps our youth with their communication and leadership skills. And the real reason for doing that is to help boost their self-confidence to assist them as they enter adulthood. And that's why I'm here, because I want to use Google Hangouts to do that. Thank you.
Right on. And don't let me forget, Fred, I know about an organization here that you might want to be aware of that works with youth and leadership using the arts, etc. And it's been around for a while. So remind me and I'll tell you all about it at some point. Yeah. So welcome here. And Jay, you're next in line in the green room.
Cool. Hi, my name is Jay, and my company is Maji Studios, and we help people get started in the world of online marketing through coach, consulting, and training. Been doing it for 10 years, hailing from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Earth.
Have you been out yet this morning?
Well, I drove from my house to my office, so yeah, it's not too bad so far. I think I got a sunburn.
Everybody's griping here about how cold it is.
Oh, really? Oh, it's not too bad out here in Langford. Victoria weather is wait 10 minutes or walk 10 blocks.
Yes, so, I know.
Yeah. Especially in springtime.
Do you know what? My friend told me about an experience about 2 days ago. She was driving out near Brentwood Bay, and she said she drove through a hailstorm, and she said the hail things were like big snowballs.
Yeah, we had that over the weekend, actually. Friday, actually. It was on Friday. We had hail.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah. Oh, God. It's nuts.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So welcome here, Jay. Always happy to have you. And let's see, Roland, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I have my issues, but I'm alive and kicking and smiling. So this is Roland from InMax Media, the sponsor of DIYLivestreamingshow.com and the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties Show. And the DIY, I mean the VIP, I've got too many letters to remember. The VCP plugin. And so I've got so much going on, I've really got to narrow down how I pitch this thing in the mornings. Hi, glad to be here. Thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, I was trying to hand the music off to Bill this morning, but apparently he's having some issues with some software, so we kind of teamed up again to try to produce the thing. And I ran into some music glitches from the program that always works, didn't work today. So you can't always depend on this technology.
Yeah, that's true. Well, but we got the music. That was good. So thank you for that. So next in line is Tim. How would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Tim Longwell. Good morning, everybody. My business identity is Longwell Art, sometimes Tim Longwell Art. It's personal brand, so it's basically the same deal. I basically help people turn their dreams, ideas, memories, photos into works of art, even helping them gain peace by learning how to do it themselves.
Yes, there's nothing more there's nothing better than exercising your own creativity. Yeah. So nice to have you here. This is your first time here.
Well, the first time in the Rogues Gallery, anyway. Should I say Peanut Gallery? I don't know. With me in it.
Are we all rogues? Maybe we are.
That's why I say maybe in my case it's more Peanut Gallery.
Okay. Anyway, it's nice to have you here in the green room with us, Tim. And Vivek, who's been among the missing for a long time, and we're really happy to have him back.
Namaste. My name is Vivek. I am actually a British citizen, presently in India, having a long holiday. And my tagline is integrate, simplify life. So that's what I do. So.
Right on. And you're working on a project there in India, so it's a working holiday.
Yeah.
Right on. And so just as I was going to ask Bill to introduce himself, he's disappeared. So
maybe you can just do it on his behalf.
Right. Yeah, I could do that. Bill is in Belize, and his website is his tagline anyway is the unbelievable truth, and he's the person who helped create my neat little intro and extra or exit-tro or whatever you call the other end. So
outro.
Thank you. Exit-tro. Oh, God. Oh, dear.
Not to be confused with an ouch-tro.
Yeah, right. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Anyway, so this morning we were going to explore and discuss some of the basics of SEO. And the person who was suggesting that is the one that's missing right now. So, but I'm sure that we can all learn something about SEO. So the first thing I think we really need to make sure everybody knows what SEO means. And my understanding is that it means search engine optimization. And I guess the next question would be, what is that all about, and why should we pay attention to it? I mean, my interpretation is that we do the things that we need to do so that the search engine, Google or any of the others, will pick up our information. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what my understanding is. And so in terms of our websites and even our YouTube sites and so forth, we need to pay attention to what will attract the search engines to find us. Yeah, anybody absolutely. Does anybody have any greater or more in-depth definition?
Well, I can certainly chime in if you'd like.
Sure.
So the way that I perceive SEO, search engine optimization, is essentially the art of preparing your website so that the search engines can read it, understand what you're talking about, and then so that at which point they can make a decision and decide what parts of your website and what parts of the content deserve to be in their search engines. So basically, it's preparing because there's a couple things that it can read your content. It can make choices based on that. But there are a few extra little things that you can use, whether you're using like a WordPress website or even just a standard main like HTML website that can help you get your site inside Google. But it's basically optimizing it for the words that you want to try to rank for in Google. So, for example, if we say in terms of Roland, business coach Victoria. Mm-hmm. So on her website, she's going to want to say within the content, I am a business coach located in Victoria. And there's things that there's little things called metas, right? But we'll get into that shortly, that are extra little tools to say, hey, Google, this is what the page is about. Here's my title and here's my abstract. Could you please put those words inside your search engine?
Yeah.
And another thing, that if you're using videos like we do on your website, or you have active other activity, you got to remember that YouTube is also a search engine. So not only do you have to optimize your website, you need to go to your videos on YouTube. Yeah. Since we're using Hangouts, and you need to do the same type of optimization of title, description, and the meta tags again, which we'll get into later. Yeah. Because it will have the same effect. We have to remember that YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an internet. It's an additional source of internet property. So every video is essentially a page that has a video, right? That has a title, that has a description. So i.e. content that has things to index, help YouTube and Google index, you know, within their search engine. Absolutely, I cannot agree more.
So would you, my curiosity is, do we get a little more Google juice if our website has videos on it?
In my opinion, yes. I think it is a metric that helps. It more indirectly than directly, because one of the metrics that helps you get ranked is how long people tend to stay on your website.
Okay.
So like how long they read. So if you have a video embedded on your page that's say 5 minutes, then that increases the page read time. But also if you have a video that's embedded that has similar words to what your topic is about within your content, then yeah, it's the Google's what's called spider bot. Their little bot comes by and reads everything, and it'll actually be able to read. It'll kind of read the link to YouTube, and it'll kind of split the bot into two and go read that thing on YouTube and says, oh, okay, it's about business coaching in Victoria, right? And then it'll reference that, and it'll continue to read things. So absolutely, I totally think having that, you know, and I think if for pages that are a little more popular, like, so if you want a page that perhaps will make you more money, you know, or like hire a business coach kind of thing, then yeah, absolutely, having a video on there is going to help you get ranked for that particular term.
So we are all living in a Google world, in other words. Go ahead, Alana.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to throw this out there because I remember a few years ago, data, when you go into Google Webmaster Tools, there was a feature in there called Data Highlighter, and it used to be a very popular thing to basically tell Google what your page or your article or your content was about. And I was just wondering if that's no longer effective, if that's a useful tool, or is it now obsolete?
Data highlighter.
Where was this tool?
It's
Alana?
in Google Webmaster Tools under search appearance. Basically,
right. Yeah, no, I think that's an antiquated tool.
I think
is
they,
it? Oh, okay.
I think they merged it and moved it, the metric, over into some other areas that were more helpful both to the search engine and to those doing the searches when they were dealing with the optimization of your website and what the suggested things they were helping you do. One of the things is like their one of those data points again is the meta tagging, and they've moved that to a different section so that they've streamlined it to where you don't have to jump around as much. So now there's like what is it, Jay? Like 6, 7 tools in there now total, as opposed to the 20 something that used to be. So they've made that a lot easier area to work with as well. Another thing that they're doing that is as they're getting more and more capable on speech recognition, they're able to tell as that video is playing, they're able to tell kind of what you're talking about. So if your title and your website page and your tagging aren't coherent, then it throws a relevancy flag and can actually reduce the benefit of a video. So when you're doing certain things, like we're discussing this, how the solopreneurs can benefit from certain things. Today we're talking about SEO, and
right.
It will look at that title, and then it will kind of compare the transcripting of
The video?
what we're talking about and how we're talking about in the video, and we'll see if they weigh a relevant balance.
Although I have tried transcribing some of my videos, and it doesn't always work. Like over in YouTube, I've tried doing that, and if it's a fairly short video, it seems to work okay. I think it has something to do with the length of the video, but I've given up trying to sort of get the transcriptions done.
Yeah. They're also robots that are doing it. So as opposed to humans, you can pay for the service to have humans do it. But in most cases, it's robots.
I'm not seeing that when I look through my video options anymore for publication and recording and such. So it may still be there for some and just not for others. I don't know.
Oh.
But, I do know that they use that transcription bot, if you will, that used to do the full page transcriptions for you. That is how, because of that speech recognition, by grabbing that shorter context, like you said, they're more accurate for one, and they can use that to make that relevance comparison. So everything, this is one thing that no matter whether it's the descriptions on the website or whether it's in the videos we're creating, whether they're live or custom-made videos that we then edit and upload, all of this, it needs to be relevant, because that will also affect how you come up in the search engine in YouTube as well as Google. And if the relevancy is high enough on both, then it will actually give both on the search page in Google.
Yeah. I haven't made that one yet. So we're, and what we're doing is really sort of exploring and trying to sort of indicate how important it is to pay attention to our keywords that we're trying to rank for, and to make sure that we have descriptions in all the right places. So certainly in YouTube, the description is right there in the session, and the tag. What do you call those? YouTube tags, I guess. Yeah, that's one place that's really important to make sure you've got all your keywords in there as well.
The other thing a lot of people need to look at now is Google kind of black hat categoried keyword stuffing.
Yeah.
So as the AI has gotten and learned more and gotten a little more smarter, it's learned to categorize keyword phrases so that it's not as dependent on keywords. It's actually looking for sentences. How do I improve my SEO? How do I improve my artwork? How do I improve my video production? How do I improve working on my car? How do I fix the fuel pump? Whatever. So, and because of that, it's now your information is, you can zero in more on what you're doing because it's a lot easier to do in a phrase, and you don't have to, what you're producing isn't as disjointed at whatever media you're creating, whether it be on your website or in your videos or whatever, so that it's a smooth flow. Because I can remember in the old days, sometimes with get the keywords in right, even in synonyms, it would make the conversation, if you will, somewhat disjointed. And it wasn't always as smoothly flowing.
Well, my
And we have an
understanding
option to make that better now.
My understanding is that we need to pay attention to what people might be typing in as their search. So how to do something, or the best way to do something, or some of those phrases are the kinds of phrases that people use when they're searching.
Absolutely. You need to predict the future as to what people are going to be typing in. And there's plenty of tools available for that. So, yeah.
And that's the importance of analytics that we talked about last week, is finding out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But I think one of the main things to realize about SEO, or that I've kind of realized, is that SEO doesn't optimize your site. Language that I say is the language that we use to communicate with bots. So we got to remember that there's basically 4 steps to getting found. First, there has to be a query, which is somebody searching for something. So the more relevant that your title, your meta tags, your content can be to that search, that's the first step. And then, of course, Google index, the bots read everything. They index, they go through your site, basically read everything, and try and make a determination of what that site is about. So that's why it's important to be relevant, because if Google indexes it wrong because of our content, then that's going to hurt us. And then, of course, Google ranks it, and that's where everything goes out the window. I mean, nobody really knows what they're using to rank or what they're giving the most importance to, but it's ranked on, mobile speed, depending on the device somebody's searching on. It's ranking on content. It's ranking on backlinks. It's ranking on basically the interaction and how many people are coming to your site. So just understanding how the search works from query to your page dropping up or popping up will help you, I think, write better content, and to realize that instead of putting in 15 tags, that was a mistake I made in the beginning, is I had every tag I could think about Belize. And somebody who was, searching, finding a job in Belize may have found a post on pineapples that was totally irrelevant to them, because I had all of the meta tags in there, and I had to realize that you have to optimize for the individual article to be found and to be relevant, and for everything to work properly, I think.
Google.
Go ahead, Vivek.
Google actually also pays a lot of attention to social signals when it comes to page ranking. So,
and what do you mean by social signals?
Social, or the stuff that you are talking about. Are people talking about that in the social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Google Plus, and so on? So LinkedIn as well. Are people talking about what you are talking about? And in which case, yes, if they are, then you would be ranking higher.
So
social media should never ignore social media.
I think that creates a good segue to mention that there's 2 main forms of SEO. There's what we call on-page SEO, and then there's something called off-page SEO, whereas on-page, you're focusing on elements that reside on your page. And then the off-page SEO, or off-page marketing, is the process to drive traffic to that page, right, through your efforts, as Vivek mentions, through social media and using social media and stuff. So absolutely, and I think there's a hierarchy there in terms of the actions taken, whereas you want to focus first on the on-page SEO, prepare it so that when you go out to do the off-page and doing the social media and doing, this external effort to drive people to your site, you want to have it prepared essentially for not only as what Bill mentioned, the bots, but also for the people reading it. And I think just quickly about the difference between a bot and a person is, and I think I'm glad that Bill brought that up, because there's a lot of people that will do keyword research, try to determine what keywords people are using through software or tools, and then they'll find these keywords that don't really make much human sense. Rank online internet. So whereas then they try to actually rank for that term where that's like, that doesn't make it, a person wouldn't normally actually type that in. Rank online internet, you know? So, and then let's say you rank for that, and then the words within your content are primarily focused on rank online internet, where you kind of, the reader's going to look at it and going, like, well, what is this garbage? You know? So I think it needs to make absolute human sense. You know, there's a delicate line between marketing for Google and marketing to the people who want to read and look and experience your content or your videos, you know? So yeah, I think that's really, really important, is not to get carried away with the whole art of SEO, you know? And I know there's really basic metrics. I can actually count 7, maybe 6 metrics that if you were to use, you can get some really good keywords inside Google. So
tell us what they are.
Okay, sure. So you have your what's called your meta title, and the meta title is the title of your page. And the meta title, say 95% of the time, actually ends up inside Google's search engine, the little title that you put in your page title. And then there's your meta description, and the meta description is essentially the dangling carrot, or the your abstract as to what the page is about. And in most cases, the meta description again shows up in the search engine results, and that is the little words that are below the blue stuff that you click on. Now, it doesn't show up every time, but if you optimize it for 155 characters or less, chances are it will actually show up. So, and then there's, you know, having the keyword in your content just once. You don't need to focus on it any more than once. And that's where, you know, if you start getting it in more than once, then we'll get into what Tim was saying about keyword stuffing, right? Where you have it, you know, in far too many times in your content, and that doesn't make much human sense. Number 4 is having images within your content, but also having what's called an alt tag. An alt tag is essentially, an alt tag was built for people who are visually impaired, so that their software, which reads these browsers that have software that read to them, can describe it's like closed captions essentially, you know. So it's like for the visually impaired, where it'll read what this alt tag says, you know. So the alt tag is basically a description of what the image is that you have in your content. So, you know, having it somewhat related to your initial targeted keyword, I think, is important. Number 5 is having internal links. And I think this is one of the most underused metrics that people don't use, because in my opinion, I think it is a huge metric to getting some decent rankings. And that is basically linking from page A to page B on your site. So internally linking from one page to another on your site. You'll notice a lot of people on YouTube will do this. Not only within the description, but also within the video. You know, they'll create playlists, and they'll go like video 1, video 2, video 3, and so on and so forth. The other one is, and we can say that this is somewhat the last one, and that's external links. An external link would be to an authority source, such as Wikipedia or CNN. You know, finding something that's relevant as a reference to link to. And I think that's, again, a lot of people tend to really hoard their traffic, thinking that, oh, if I put an external link, I'm going to lose all this traffic, and I'm not going to, you know, get my conversion, which is whatever, you know, your intended conversion is, which is, you know, sale, opt-in, buy, click, come by, whatever, which is really not true. So yeah, so those so meta title, meta description, keyword and content, alt tag within an image, internal link, and external link. And then there's other metrics, you know, there's hundreds of metrics, but I mean, if you want to add a little bit of an extra cherry on top, throw in a video and embed the video on that page.
Right. So, and let me tell you from my perspective, because I do a Monday morning Mindset Monday blog, I've been playing with all of those metrics, learning, practicing how to, and it takes practice. It really does. So it's, I mean, the place I begin before I even start writing is I do a keyword search first. Like I have some sense of what it is I want to write about, but then I go looking in a keyword tool so that I can find something that looks like it makes sense, looks like it's related to what I'm going to write about, but has had some good numbers on it. So what tools do you all use when you're doing your keyword searching, or do you do keyword searching? Anybody?
One of the things that I use, which is, and it's something I'd advise that if you have a little bit of free time and you really don't want to watch Netflix and there's nothing, you don't want to fool with individual videos on YouTube or whatever, or you just want something mind distracting for a little bit, go into Google search and then type something, just a letter or two, so that it flips you up to the top search bar up there underneath your address bar and bookmark bar. And then up there, just play with the alphabet.
Yeah.
And watch some of the search phrases that come up. And when you're doing your keyword research, again, use keyword phrases to see how other people are searching for it as well.
Yeah.
And do the same on YouTube.
Isn't that what we call alphabet soup?
Yeah, it's been coined as the alphabet soup technique, essentially.
But there's also, and the nice thing is
it's very effective. It's a very good technique.
It's very effective. Yeah. It's very informative. And oddly enough, depending on your frame of mind, sometimes it can be amusing and relaxing.
Especially if silly things come up, right?
Oh, yeah. And then Google has...
but you need to be aware of the cache that your browser keeps, and unless you do this exercise in the incognito mode, you will see what you have been searching for. So it's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, that will not really reflect what the user may want.
Okay.
That may not reflect what your viewer audience may want. So when you do that, when you try to looking at this alphabet soup or whatever, do it in incognito mode.
Okay, that's a
search
good
history.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be quite surprised how much differently you rank if you just go in from your Chrome account and you go in from a cognito window.
Yeah. Greetings, Heidi. Welcome here.
Hello. I'm sorry late, but
we're just talking about how search and how we do get a keyword searches. So anybody else do what else do you use?
I'd like to mention a plugin I use that I find very helpful with my WordPress site, and that's Yoast SEO.
Oh yeah.
Now Yoast does a lot of things. It tracks your keywords. It'll tell you how many times your keywords are in there. It'll even tell you if you forget to put it in a title. They suggest you do that. They suggest you put it in at least one H2 tag. And they'll tell you if you have too many. It seems to me with Yoast SEO, they seem to like between 0.5% of your content or to 1%. So 1 in 100 words be that keyword. But in addition to that, it'll tell you if your writing is hard or easy to read, like what grade level would be able to read that writing. It'll help you through all of that stuff. It'll remind you to put meta tags in your images. And all of those little things are ultimately what Google is ranking for. I mean, all of these things we've talked about, meta tags and link backs and quality content, it all comes down to one thing, and that's that Google or Bing or whoever the search engine is looking to provide the user with the best user experience. So they rank everything: page speed, mobile friendly, quality of content, all of that stuff. So the more of those little things you can do right, you know, you may as, when it comes to a bot crawling your site, you may as well not put up an image at all as put up an image with the title, you know, image 57 JPEG 3. I mean, the bot can't see that that's a pineapple. All it can see is that it's got a title. So,
right. Yes, I think a lot of us use Yoast.
There is some caveats to Yoast, though, and I'm sure Jay will agree. He's probably seen it too, and I know of others that have. Is don't focus on necessarily getting a bright green dot on that plugin, because what works because of the improvements Google is making versus what Yoast is telling you, there sometimes, and it happens quite often, oddly enough, depending on what you're writing about and your audience, your niche, and things like that, that you sometimes an orange or yellow will rank higher than a full green page by Yoast metrics inside the add-on. So again, and a lot of that goes back to that off-site SEO. Is it a trending topic? Mm-hmm. Is it a relevant topic to a trending topic? Mm-hmm. Is an addendum to something everybody's searching for on a regular, even though it's not a trending topic. Mm. So yeah,
I agree.
Don't look at Yoast as a be-all, end-all. It's a tool, just like anything else. And
all tools that you have to
grain of salt, right? Yeah, mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah,
well, maybe not a grain of salt in my case, but yeah.
Well, from my,
I mean, one of the things I have trouble with, and maybe somebody can tell me how it affects SEO, and that is that it always tells me I'm using stop words, which is of and from and things like that. Doesn't. So what is the effect of using stop words? And sometimes taking the stop words out, like Jay mentioned earlier, kind of makes, you know, instead of saying finding a job in Belize, you're trying to get rid of those stop words, and it becomes which probably nobody is going to search. Yeah. So I was just wondering what people's comments are on the stop words and how important they are or how detrimental they are.
Well, see, that's another one of those deals to where it can affect whether or not in Yoast you're green or not. But again, you made a very valid point. Are you thinking robot or are you thinking human? And one of the things I would advise if you're using some of those quote stop words is not necessarily stop using them, but be careful where you place them in a sentence.
Yeah.
Don't put them on
the end of the ignore that. That particular piece, I ignore that. Because
I ignore the stop words as well.
Yeah. Well, most stop words are connectives.
Yes.
Of the
exactly.
You see what I mean? So if you rely on that too much, like Bill has brought out and Jay and I have both said, that you start talking to the robot and nobody looks for you.
And that feature can be turned off in Yoast. It doesn't need to be active. Oh. Yeah. And that the readability, the readability feature all that stuff can be turned off, right? Because I mean, at what point does it make Juice DeVolk, whatever his, I don't know is the proper pronunciation of his name, what makes him an authority on what it is that ranks or not, right? You know, the irony that we're talking about this is that I'm actually going through his training to review it. And like the more I read it, the more I you know, don't get me wrong, it makes a great keyword tool. But in terms of what, you know, the words that are within the plugin to say, well, here's what will rank, you know, in terms of readability, you know, the irony of him having as his English as a second language, saying that this is readability, you know, that coincides with his training and his accent, and the words that he uses don't completely make readability sense, you know. But I mean, I digress on that. But yeah, at the end of the day, you can just turn that stuff off and just use your core metrics. Write how you want to write. You don't want to be writing how other people tell you how to write. Right. You know, like, to me, stop words they don't matter in any way, shape, or form. You don't need to remove them. You don't need to consciously think about dramatically placing them in certain areas. Just write so that you can write to your people. Go through those 7 metrics that I mentioned, and you'll be fine. And the great thing about is that when you focus on one keyword and then you write your content, you go do your SEO, that one piece of content that you focused on one keyword will actually end up having a whole bunch of different keywords ranked. And these are called LSI keywords, or related keywords, that say, okay, well, Google says, all right, well, here's some other keywords we're going to rank you for, you know. So you know, I see this all the time, where people get so caught up on, like, whether to use this word or how should I do this and that, you know. And it really is because of these tools, whether it's like Yoast all-in-one or whatever research tool that you're completely relying on an algorithmic robot that says this is what's going to rank. You know, the way that I do things is I use those 7 metrics. I have my site in Google Webmaster Tools, or Google Search Console now, which is google.com/webmasters. If it's an authority-based page that I'm trying to rank for and it's a little more difficult, I'll fetch it as Google and request indexing. But that's really it. I don't you know, I don't actively go out and try to find backlinks. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. And these metrics, in my opinion, really just work, you know. And you need to kind of brush yourself away from the you know, the finite things that these bots or these pieces of software are telling you to do or not to do. You know, you need to be in control of your own content, not other people telling you what to write to make it rank.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good.
Right, because at the end of the day, you're trying to attract an audience. So
yeah,
that's really you're trying to write for your audience, and Google's going to help you get there, but it's not the do-all, end-all, you know.
And you have to use your own voice. That's the only voice that you can use consistently. Yeah. And the reason I brought the thing up about Yoast, and I'm glad everybody jumped on board, is that it goes to something that we often say. It's not that we have the tool, it's how we use the tool, and to recognize what's important and useful with the tool and what's not so much. I mean, for example, I apparently I write very passive, but if I go in and try and change all those sentences, then it's no longer my voice.
Yeah, I know, because the readability thing has you know, wrecked my head as well, and I will go back and reread my content trying to figure out, what is it talking about? What do you mean? What's it talking about? Because it never tells you where. And now I just think to myself, hey, you know what? Everything is grammatically correct. It makes sense to me. I'm going to hit the go button.
Yeah, Alana, turn that feature off.
Yeah, one thing about all of this, so that everybody, and it's so easy to do, because as humans, we tend to drill down sometimes too far. We can overcomplicate what we're trying to accomplish with very little effort.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I'm really guilty of that. I like psychoanalyze everything to the nth degree.
Well, it's a natural human tendency, and we can all get caught up in it. SEO does not have to be complicated. In fact, many of us here and many watching on this video later will know who I'm mentioning when I talk about Stone Temple or Mark Trephagen or Eric Inge. And they actually have pointers to where you actually only use 2 factors to rank effectively in SEO. So quit trying to overcomplicate it. And that, I think, is what some of these tools allow us to do, is overcomplicate a simple process. So, you know, I'd have to agree with Jay that, you know, that 7 is probably more than enough for 99% of what we're going to want to put out there. You know, then there's other times when you're going to need it at higher or more difficult level. And if you're going to reach that level, then you need somebody like Jay, or you need somebody like Vivek. You're out of your league. And then at that point, you have to decide, is it really worth it? What am I going to gain? What are the benefits versus the expense?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it always comes back to KISS. Keep it simple, silly.
Stupid.
Well, and I guess the point I wanted to make with it is that I don't think we need to try and drill down and become SEO experts, because just as you think you've got a handle on it, they're going to change the algorithm anyway. But
yeah, that's a good point.
I think my point was just that if people know the basics of how it works, how the query, how the search, or how the query, the crawl, the index, the ranking work, it can help you be a little bit more effective without, you know, having to worry about it. All of a sudden, it'll just become a natural progression to make sure that your content is relevant to the keyword, and just do the little things that make make your SEO better. Tag your pictures, you know, use your keyword in an H2 tag. Make sure you use it in your title. Use it in your meta description. Use it in the places where the robot is going to read it, and so that they index you properly. And I don't think we have to be professionals, but just to know how the system works, I think will help us understand how to use it a little bit better.
How many of us actually do a keyword search before we even do our writing?
Always.
I do as well. Yeah.
Because I don't see any point in writing content if the keyword isn't going to rank, because that tells me no one's looking for it and no one's interested in the topic.
Well, I don't know. I might be in a different situation where I'm writing about procedures and processes specific to where I'm living. But I find that I prefer to write my content and then look at the content and decide what should be the keyword for that content. I mean, I've heard other people say yes, and to do a search for that content wouldn't hurt me a bit. I mean, I might come up with a title and find out that just changing a few words would be just as relevant, but more searchable. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do keyword searches. I think it's very beneficial, and it's something that I got to start doing with Google Webmasters. But I find that people that go out and try and find a keyword because it's going to rank and then write content, that goes to the old saying I say that, you know, now you're not speaking because you have something to say, you're speaking because you have to say something. And
and so that's basically what the process that I use for my Monday blog. I decide what I'm going to write about, but then I go and I look to see what keyword would work the best. And then I figure out how to work that keyword into at least the first paragraph. So it does take practice.
Yep.
So we're almost at 10 o'clock, but I did want to raise the fact that there are places where we can do that keyword search. Google Analytics, I guess you can do, or is it? No, it's not Google Analytics. It's Google AdWords.
Google.com
Keyword Planner.
Webmasters.
Oh, it's Keyword Planner. Okay, yeah. So that's one place.
You can do the same thing. There is the same feature available for YouTube as well.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
TubeBuddy will do that.
Yeah. So there's YouTube Keyword Planner that does the same thing.
Oh,
And
there's something I didn't know.
It gives you an added avenue if you want maybe you put a short video clip in your page or whatever.
Yeah, and what Bill said, TubeBuddy also is a nice little tool as well.
Yeah.
There's actually a sale on for those of you who used TubeBuddy not too long ago on
AppSumo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Lifetime pro membership for.
That's right. It's like $30 or something.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's well worth it.
What's the name of it?
TubeBuddy.
TubeBuddy. Okay.
Yeah.
TubeBuddy. And add a .com and you can find them.
Wait, hold on. Alana, I forbid you to buying any more tools.
Fucker, I know. I'm terrible. Well, you know what? I'm not really, I was kind of tabling that because I'm not jumping into YouTube just yet. So I was going to keep that on the back burner anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I won't buy any more tools.
I watch you.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. Maybe I'll send you a mail about my next brilliant idea.
Okay.
Now you got their curiosity all aroused.
Well, basically, I was going to ask Jay's opinion on whether it's time for me to jump into the pay-per-click pool.
Oh.
Which is a completely different topic altogether.
Yes, no kidding.
So just to satisfy your curiosity, that was it.
Okay, right on. Thank you. Well, folks, it's 10 o'clock right on the button. And as I said earlier, I have a commitment that makes me need to finish on time this morning. But I do want to give everyone an opportunity to finish off by saying or dropping something in that they didn't get a chance to say. And by the way, Vivek dropped off. I got a message that said his internet was kicking up, and besides, it's getting late at night here. So
I guess it's 6 o'clock there.
Yeah.
Oh no, no, he's not in England anymore, right? Okay.
No, he's in India.
Right.
So it's probably 10 or 11 o'clock at night there. Yeah. So I appreciate the conversation this morning. I hope that viewers will find the information useful, and I guess we'll have to think about what our topic for next week will be. Does anybody have any ideas?
I have a question that might be appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm looking on how to edit YouTube videos. In other words, I've recorded it on Google Hangouts, but I would like to edit it and then upload again. And I think there's a big can of worms there.
Yes,
but
there
I'd
is.
like to see if Google Hangouts video, which I think we'd have to download, edit, and upload again. But there might be other ways of editing it.
Why don't you
I can recommend Screencast.
Well,
those are the sort of things. I don't want to bring it up now, but I'd love to have a discussion like this about what we can do.
Let's do that. We'll have a conversation about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Fred, if you'll get in contact with me, I'll kind of give you some pointers that'll help you out too. And we'll get a better idea of what you need in the way of editing tools. Everybody's needs going to be different depending on the goal.
Yeah, I do have editing tools, but I do need, and I am able to edit videos. It's just that when we get to YouTube. Anyway, if we could table that, because I know Lowell has to go. And then, Tim, if you can give me your address, maybe put it in the chat box, then I can send you it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Or just ping me on Hangouts.
Yes.
Okay.
And so there's a perfect example of why this success circle really works. People identify something they need, and somebody jumps in and offers help, and that to me is so satisfying, and it's it's just it satisfies my need to be helpful. So I thank you all for doing that. So I think it's time for us to close now. Bill, I'm going to white box you, and we'll see everybody next week. So I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of music happening as well or not. So thanks for joining us. Really appreciate, and as you can see on the screen, that there are various places to find and access the Being Your Own CEO. So, and I do want to tell anybody who's watching and encourage people to connect with the folks in the green room here, because they all do wonderful work and they're great people to work with. So thanks very much for joining us this morning, and we'll see you next week. And I'm hitting the stop broadcast right now.